Carissimi amici, benvenuti, my dear friends, welcome. Today, once again here on Nick Stellino's Family Kitchen, we're going to show you how to turn your home, your kitchen, into a first-class restaurant. And here are a couple of ideas on how to actually handle chicken scaloppini. We will start, first and foremost, with a salsa romagnola, scaloppini with salami, and then we'll move on to scaloppini with radicchio and gorgonzola. Simple, easy to make, and they taste wonderful.
Nick Stellino's Family Kitchen is made possible by
Funding for this program is provided by Kenmore Elite Appliances. Kenmore Elite, the proud makers of ranges, cooktops, and wall ovens for family kitchens all across America.
additional funding provided by Domino Sugar. Family means everything, and family traditions are sweeter. Domino Sugar helps you create those special memories. Pure cane, sweet memories. Domino will always be your sugar. And by BJ's Wholesale Club, exclusively featuring Rosano, ethnic Italian food products. BJ's Wholesale Clubs, where value comes to life. Additional funding is provided by Larry's Markets and Maurice Lacroix Watches.
Carissimi amici, benvenuti. I was just about to get ready to start this wonderful recipe. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pour some extra light olive oil in this saute pan. I'm going to show you how to make this wonderful chicken scaloppini. But before we go ahead and cook the scaloppini, what I want to do is show you actually how to make it. By the way, we used extra light olive oil in the particular pan because we're going to cook it on very high heat. And the extra light, far more than the extra virgin, is able to take big, high temperatures without burning, and it will be able to seal in the flavor. This is a whole chicken breast. I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to see this in the past, but here it is. What we're going to do is make scaloppini out of it. So first and foremost, what you want to do is to cut it in half. And look, this is nice and healthy. This is the tenderloin right here underneath what you're seeing. Usually when I make scaloppini, I cut this off altogether. We'll use it for later for something else. Then what I do, I take the breast just as it is, and then what we do is we cut it in pieces. And when I cut it, look, I go slightly on a bias. And then what we need to do is to actually pound the piece into a scaloppina. How do you do that? This is where a lot of people get involved with a huge amount of mistakes. And there are certain tools that you need to use. One of it is this. This is plastic wrap, really, what you use in your kitchen every day to wrap the food to keep it fresh. What we do with this right now, we fold it over the piece of chicken. Why do we do that? This is extremely important. If you were to pound the chicken on top of the board, the chicken by itself is so slippery that I guarantee you the moment that you use the pounder to put it on top, it would just fly on the side, they explode. And if you're as strong as I am, your neighbors will be seeing strange objects, flying past their windows. This, on the other hand, is something that keeps it completely glued within the paper itself. And also, as you pound on top of it, you'll be able to see how it expands. It's very important when you pound the chicken scaloppini that you're attentive as where you put the blows. Because if you do it too much on one side, you will tear the flesh out. And that will not make a nice, elegant piece of scaloppini. So together, let's take a look at it. I'm going to hit and then slide off this way. And they don't have to be perfectly, round. And here's what we've done. Put it together, and you can make it whatever thickness you like. Now, this is a wonderful dish that I'm about to show you, and you can see how nice and thick this is. This is really ready to go, a wonderful piece. I have some of the pieces that are done over there a little bit thinner, and we're going to now flavor them. And as we flavor them, the only thing I'm going to do is put some salt and some pepper. Now, there are no rules whatsoever that you cannot use additional flavorings if you want to, but sometimes I believe that the simpler things are the best things. So here we have flour inside this small container. I put some salt and some pepper on the chicken real quick. And then just for good measure, we'll put some more here in the flour, together with the pepper as well. Now your hands are going to get dirty. And the one thing that we want to focus first and foremost is to make sure that before we even put the chicken inside the oil, that the oil is nice and hot. Now, this is what a lot of friends of mine and people in general that watch my show and buy my book make a mistake. They usually take the chicken from this and they put it right inside the pan. That is not right. Let me show you why. I'm going to pat the excess flour out. And when I pat the excess flour out, you see how much drier the surface is? The purpose in what we're about to do is to create a crust. If there is too much excess flour, the flour will go to the bottom of the pan. And the temperatures that we're using in that oil are quite high. As a matter of fact, let me increase the heat here for a moment. And so that the flour that goes to the bottom of the pan creates for us a slight inconvenience, one that we don't want to deal with. It ruins the flavor, burnt, will also penetrate the flesh of the chicken, taking away from us the joy that it is to try and taste the wonderful piece. I kept the flouring very light. We do not want to have a doughy finish as you see other people do. We just want a searing process to create a crust that seals in the juices. This dish is wonderful to make, and follow me. I want to check and see if the olive oil here is hot enough. What I do, I usually add a little bit of flour. You see the way it's dancing right in there? It's telling you that the temperature is exactly what we want. So here we go now with the chicken pieces. Now watch the way I put them in. This is very important for your safety at home. I take it from one tip, I let it go on the other side. So whatever splashing that is moves away from you. This oil is very hot, and from personal experience, allow me to tell you that it is unforgiving. Here, nice portion. What we're trying to do here at this point is to sear the juices inside the chicken. It's cut thin enough that in a matter of minutes, this thing will basically have cooked all the way through. So we're going to cook it slightly a minute on one side, turn it, cook it roughly another minute on the other side, and that will basically be it. So let me take a look and see. No, just one more moment. A technique that works very well that you can also do is take the extra oil and put it on top. I find that it allows a quicker sealing process and very effective. All right, let's turn it on the other side now. You can see how the flour already has created a wonderful seal finish. This is very important to us. For those of you who lead a very busy lifestyle, this allows you to make this earlier in the day, or even the day before, and still keep them somewhat raw inside. I'm about to pull them out right now. Remember, they're not cooked all the way through. We've done this for just about less than 2 minutes. The breasts are just ready, the scallopini. We're gonna put them in this dish, lined with brown paper. This is paper that comes from the average supermarket bag, and I find it to be extremely well absorbent. By the way, that's the way my mom used to do it, and that's the way I do it myself. The next thing we're going to do right now is actually the making of the sauce. For the sauce, instead of extra light olive oil, we're going to use the more flavorful extra virgin olive oil. You can see the beautiful darker color that we have in here. The sauce is interesting because it combines two important elements. One is the garlic. By the way, here I am at the board. On this side, I've already dealt with the chicken. Whenever you do something like that, you want to change the surface, especially when you deal with chicken. So I've turned it over. Also, to make sure that this board does not contaminate the board underneath, I've also put a towel. It's something that works for me very, very well. Also, when you deal with a second board on top of it, to make sure it doesn't slide, a towel that's slightly moist also works, or I wouldn't say like glue, but something that secures it from moving around. And you can see exactly what I mean. Let's go to the garlic. A lot of people say, Nick, when you say cut the garlic thickly, exactly what do you mean? Well, here we are. This is a little clove of garlic, and there's no science to it. I just go across just like that. I like them to have them this thick because in a short while we're going to put them into the olive oil, and I want them to be thick enough that it will brown on the outside without cooking all the way through at the first impact with the olive oil. The olive oil will be fairly hot. Remember this, we're using now garlic as a base, an ingredient for the base of the sauce. If we were to instead add this later into the sauce, it wouldn't be so much of an issue because we would just want it as a flavoring. This is what a lot of people don't understand. Garlic cut this thick at the beginning of a sauce that will cook for a longer period of time prevents the garlic from burning altogether. Even though it will be brown on the outside, remember it's still raw on the inside. So Let's see, it's out. Oh yes, the temperature is just right for us. So here we go. Together with that, we're going to add a little bit of red pepper flakes for flavor, and I love this. It adds a nice little spice to it. Chopped onions as well. I'm going to let this cook for a moment, and let me talk to you about salami. What we have in here is the average salami. You can choose anything you want, soppressata, Milano, Fiorentino. But what we want to do with this salami is to give it a new personality as we cook it. People always think of salami exclusively for sandwich meats. Here's what we're going to do with it, and you'll see exactly where I'm going with this. I'm going to cut it in thick slices, just like this. And then what I will do across, and let's take this as the slice to demo with, cut it in a strip, another strip, another strip. And then I will cut it and make little cubes with it. Why cubes? We could chop the salami if you wanted, but what the cubes will do for us, they will give us a surface. And you can see all the square surfaces that are housed all around. They will brown, maintain inside of them the juices that the salami does have because of the pork fat that's contained within, and really providing for us an ingredient that is spectacular. I'm going to add them right now into the pan. And the salami treated this way brings a completely different flavor, the salami that is chopped. A fabulous substitution to anything that requires the usage and the addition of bacon. The salami has a fantastic personality. So here we are. The next thing that we're going to do is going to let this cook until some of the salami and the ingredients leak all of the juices down to the bottom of the pan, creating for us what we refer to as brown bits. Why are brown bits so important? A lot of people get concerned when they see marked of browns at the bottom of their pan. They think that they've done something wrong, and really you haven't. Actually, that is something that you purposely want to do. Why do you want to do that? Because, well, we're going to add the wine now. We're going to deglaze this dish with the wine, and you'll see exactly why. White wine, any type of wine you want. I'm going to stir the bottom of the pan. As we stir the bottom of the pan, you'll see right away how the wine that we've added is changing color. That color that we're changing and the stirring motion that we're doing is dislodging the brown bits at the bottom, bringing them back into the liquid that is the wine itself, and creating for us a secondary meltdown, if I can define it in terms that I just cognated for this purpose. And really, we're dislodging the brown bits, they're becoming liquid once again, they're going right here into the wine, and they're being reabsorbed as a part of the sauce. Simple step, which has a huge degree of importance. The next thing that we're going to do, we're going to add some of the whipping cream and the chicken stock. Now, we're going to bring this to a boil. Once it reaches a boil, you want to reduce the heat and simmer down for 20 minutes or so until it reaches sauce consistency. What is sauce consistency? Well, this is the part of the show that I actually do love the most. So let me walk you with my wonderful fingers from what it looks right now and to what is actually the look that we will have once the sauce is properly reduced. Follow the fingers, follow the fingers, follow the fingers, follow the fingers, and here we are. The sauce is nice and thick. You see also a deepening of the color. All the flavors have come together, and we're just about ready to go. But before we do that, allow me to switch the pans, and we are going to put chicken scallopini inside the sauce. Remember that before I told you to slightly undercook the scallopini. Why? This is the reason why. We are going to finish them in the sauce. Two purposes here: to reheat them, but also to complete the cooking. Now, this is a fantastic recipe for you to do at home ahead of time when you especially have a large crowd of people. You can pre-cook ahead of time the scallopini. You can make the sauce ahead of time. The crowd comes to the house, and when you're ready to serve the main course of dinner, all that you have to do at this point is simply reheat them together. A very effective way. And if you have a big Italian family, like many of my friends, 20, 30 people coming to your house, you can actually do this in the oven on a very low heat, and I'm telling you, in 10 minutes, you can serve a whole crew of people. It goes wonderful with mashed potatoes, sauteed spinach. It's one of those things that it's a crowd favorite. Let's plate this, and this is the best part. So here we are. And the pouring of the sauce is for me what ultimately becomes what I refer to as sexy. So always put some of the salami on top. And then we get some of the sauce all the way around. And this sauce is so flavorful. It's picked up so many of the elements. And the last touch that we want to do is maybe just a sprinkle of parsley on top of it. And as you look at this, you simply say to yourself, there it is. But stay tuned, because coming next, I'm going to show you to make this wonderful scallopini with a gorgonzola and radicchio sauce.
Cook chicken within 2 to 3 days of purchase and store in the coldest part of the refrigerator for best freshness and flavor. To learn more, visit nickstellino.com.
Here we are with two of my favorite ingredients: gorgonzola, Italian-style blue cheese, and radicchio. I'm going to make another sauce which is going to be absolutely wonderful with chicken scallopini. I wanted to give you two variations so that you have two great ideas. Well, let's get the pan going. We'll get it nice and hot. We're going to add some wonderful extra virgin olive oil. This is going to be a very important ingredient for us. And I wanted to talk a little bit about radicchio. I don't know, many of you in the past has actually seen radicchio, but radicchio is an interesting vegetable. It's part of the family of chicory, and radicchio in its infancy actually is not red, it is green. And then when the temperatures do drop, the radicchio becomes red. Radicchio comes from the region of northern Italy. There's also another variation of radicchio known as Treviso, which is not round, rather it's oval. So the way we're going to handle the radicchio is quite simple. We're going to cut it in half. And at this point, we really don't need to worry about it too much. But if you wanted to do a salad, one of the things that you want to do is to get rid of this center part over here. That is kind of chewy. So very simply, what we do, we cut it almost in a triangle, and then you just pull it out. Very simple thing to do. Now, for the purpose of the recipe, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to cut the radicchio in thin slices, just like this. And then I'm going to go across and chop it one more time, and then we're going to use it later on, and we're going to put it into the sauce. So there it is. The radicchio has a tart flavor to it, which is the character of this particular vegetable. But what I love about it is the way in which it marries together with the cheese. It makes it quite perfect and completely, in my opinion, a taste that is unexpected. The next thing that we're going to do once we add the radicchio is to actually add the cheese. The cheese, I want to talk to you a little bit about it, because it's very interesting. Let me put it delicately on the board. Usually I slap stuff down. Gorgonzola, my favorite cheese. As you see, always comes wrapped in foil. What we want to do is make sure that we take the foil away, because this foil not only is not edible, but if you do happen to have small cavities, it's something that definitely will not react positively. It's a very fragile cheese. I'm going to help myself with this little tool as I turn it around. You see all this darkened spot in here? This is mold. This mold is purposely being placed into the cheese, and that is what gives the flavor to the cheese. Why is gorgonzola different? It's far softer than the average blue cheese, more than the French cheeses, more than the Spanish cheeses, and more than our American variation of blue cheese. It is tender, it's mellifluous. The way in which it marries together with the flavoring of the radicchio and the sauce is something short of a miracle. So here we go. Let's get started now with the sauce. We have the oil nice and hot. We go always with our garlic. As you can see, the garlic, as usual, is nice and thick. Remember what I always say in the past, when you use it as a sauce, you want to have it that way. Why? Because we're going to cook it for a long period of time. We don't want to burn. I just added some red pepper flakes. In addition to that, we're going to put in there also as well some shallots. Shallots are of the onion family. And why do I use shallots? It is a little bit more of an elegant taste the shallot does have. And even though it's so small, and if you ever shop for shallots before, you've seen they're quite tiny, they pack a lot of flavor. The sulfite, unfortunately, is still in there. The sulfite is the chemical which is inside the onion. That is what makes you cry. And it makes you cry like something fierce, I must say. I have read that you can put them in water, that you can let them rest in the refrigerator for 2 to 3 days, that you can put them first in vinegar and then slice them. I tried all these tricks, never worked. Even been told that the way to make it so that you don't cry when you cut onions is to actually wear goggles. Try that, doesn't work. So, one of those things that you're going to have to suffer with. Now here we go with the radicchio that we chop. Remember, radicchio will actually almost fold into the sauce. It's like cooking mushrooms. It goes in, and at first everybody is concerned that there's too much volume, but then, as you can see in front of your very own eyes, it wills. I love radicchio. It's one of those things that it's kind of strange in flavor originally, but the way in which you pick it up and the way in which it combines with all the other flavor in the sauces does give you a surprise, a very pleasant surprise. The next thing that we're going to do, we're going to add to this some wine, and white wine will do just fine. Champagne will be a wonderful addition. Any type of sparkling wine will do great. So here we go with that. Just enough of a brush to deglaze. Oh, wonderful. This is fantastic. We're just about getting there. You want to make sure that you add the wine and you deglaze it. Now, this popping and fizzing sound is what I love the best. Then we go with the chicken stock. And once we're done with the chicken stock, we add the cream. Now, this is a very important part because we are now in the process of making the sauce. For the sauce to be complete, we have to stir, bring it to a boil, then let it simmer until it gets to sauce consistency. But what is sauce consistency? What is that we're looking for? And as usual, we're going with my most favorite special effect called follow the finger. And what I have here on the sides is some sauce that already let it reduce. And what I want to show you is how much more thick the consistency of the sauce is. So are you ready? So here we are, follow the fingers, follow the fingers, follow the fingers, follow the fingers, and this is the consistency. Right away you notice a change of the color. The predominant red from the radicchio is taking over the sauce. You also see it nice and thicker. Let me move the two pans now because the last addition, which is the most important, is the addition that really gives this its sole character. I told you before that this is my favorite cheese, gorgonzola, and now I'm going to slice a good chunk of the gorgonzola right here into the sauce. And here we push it gently, and then we let it melt. You want to make sure that we melt this cheese into the sauce, and you have to be quite gentle with it. Do not rush it. You don't want to cook over too much because you don't want to burn it. You want to have it so that it goes to the bottom and it folds in. It's like having a relationship with the sauce, and the relationship is going to reward you with wonderful results. One of the best things in life to take your time when you make a sauce. And this is it. The cheese has completely melted. The sauce is exactly where we wanted to have it at. The last addition that we need to do is add some of this chicken scallopini, which we prepared ahead of time. We're going to put it here in the sauce. We're going to let them rewarm. And in just a couple of moments, we're going to serve them together with the sauce. And they're going to make a wonderful, wonderful dish. And here we are. It's time for us to serve our scallopini. We're going to place them right here in this beautiful dish, which we decorated with some leaves from our radicchio. Not only they're beautiful leaves, but at the same time, they're going to be very, very tasty. And everything is in place. The last thing that we're going to do is to put our sauce in there, which is going to make it fantastic. And this is something which I always like to take my time with. A little bit of radicchio on top, and then just the sauce. Just let it come all the way around. And one last touch, that simply is a little bit of parsley. And there it is.
To learn more, visit nickstellino.com.
Carissimi amici, è stato un piacere, my dearest friends. It has been a pleasure to play with you, and I hope I've inspired you with ideas that you will make at your home, in your kitchen, forever. Ciao.
Nick Stellino's Dine-In Cookbook, including a DVD of favorite recipes, is available for $29.95, plus shipping and handling. To order, please call 1-800-937-5387. Nick Stellino's Family Kitchen is made possible by
Funding for this program is provided by Kenmore Elite Appliances. Kenmore Elite, the proud makers of ranges, cooktops, and wall ovens for family kitchens all across America.
additional funding provided by Domino Sugar. Family means everything, and family traditions are sweeter. Domino Sugar helps you create those special memories. Pure cane, sweet memories. Domino will always be your sugar. And by BJ's Wholesale Club, exclusively featuring Rosano, ethnic Italian food products. BJ's Wholesale Clubs, where value comes to life. Additional funding is provided by Larry's Markets and Maurice Lacroix Watches.